What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the most important NYCFC talk show. It's time for the Dudes in Blue yet again this week for a bonus episode. It's episode number 136. Thank you so much for joining us in this special edition of the Dudes in Blue. I'm your host, Joe Amato, and alongside me, as always, a tear.
Sad clown. Sad clown. Nah, it's Nino. What's up, everybody?
Sad Tenino?
Sad Nino. Oh, no. That's even worse.
It is. It is.
Oh.
Well, guys, if you're just joining live in the show, let us know that you're here watching on Facebook, and if you're listening on the pod, let us know that you're enjoying it there. And we're always at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dudes in Blue. And if you're just joining the broadcast, please share this with your NYCFC friends on Facebook if you're watching live, and if you're listening on the pod as well. Dude, tonight we're gonna do kind of a quick little show here because the roster moves came out today. The news of David Villa came out yesterday. It's been an emotional couple of days, and we're gonna try to kind of get through this here. We want to know what you guys are thinking in the comments. We're gonna give you our thoughts on the decisions that NYCFC have made, and we're gonna try to process this as a family. I think that's what we're gonna try to do here.
We will make it through as a family.
So let's get right into it here. Let me just say hi to a couple guys here. This is David saying hello. Gareth saying hi. Chris is saying what's up, dudes. We're not happy, Chris. We are not happy. So let's start off with the roster moves before we get into the David Villa, because that's kind of like the bigger piece. So let's start right off the bat with the guys that were that the options were exercised, dude. Let me read off the list here. Daniel Bedoya, which was interesting because we haven't seen him play at all. Jeff Caldwell, who we saw get drafted at the MLS Super Draft in January. Sebastian Ibeagha, kind of makes sense, a very affordable defender.
Yeah, that's good.
Brad Stuver, which is pretty interesting. And additionally, the club has activated Tati Castellanos' option to be purchased from Atletico Torquay. So he's going to be joining NYCFC on a permanent basis.
Did you ask me a question?
Torquay? Torquay! Torquay! Let's talk about the exercised options right now, dude. What do you think? Anything surprising?
No, I think Bedoya definitely, because he just signed last year, definitely didn't get a chance to do anything. So I think they kind of owed it to him to kind of bring him along and see what he's got, which is okay by me. Ibeagha, definitely, I think he had a really good season. Do I think he had is he as good as Maxime Chanot? I don't think so. But I think when you look at how much each of them are making versus the production of the two of them, I mean, you go with the cheaper option, obviously. I don't always agree with that, but I'm okay with Ibeagha getting exercised. I think he's really good for the team. I think he's a great teammate. Great with the media, great with the fans. I enjoy the time I get to speak with him on occasion, so I'm cool with that. Caldwell, again, we saw him get drafted. This is a really young kid that's going to need time to, flourish and get some games in. And there's no sense in drafting a goalkeeper and then getting rid of him immediately. I just you don't do things like that. So, and Stuver, I guess, is the one that, I mean, he's backup keeper, not going to get much time. They just signed Sean Johnson to a long-term deal. So, whatever it may be, you just need somebody, you need a body back there. Tati, I think, is the question. I think that's the big one. I want to say he definitely has the potential. I mean, he has the potential, obviously. But as far as are we going to see that come to fruition, I don't know. I feel like last year was a very hesitant midfielder for us. He just didn't really want to pull the trigger, and he showed he had the skill. He's able to hold the ball and dribble. His dribbling skills are fantastic. But I think his decision-making is what lacks. And to be fair, that comes with playing games and getting used to the league and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what he can do over the course of a year. I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy him last year. I mean, because I understand that it's in a little bit of a vacuum. and you're looking at a small sample space. But I think over time, when he can develop a relationship with other players on the field and be a constant force, I think he could be, he could pop in 7 or 8 goals and be someone that does that. I don't know if it's going to be off the bench or as a starter, but right now we have a couple of vacant, starter positions as far as I'm concerned that we need to worry about. So, yeah, I'm okay with everything. Pretty much, I don't mind any of the exercising. I think exercising is all right.
Yeah, I think the Ibiaga one was the only one that I was like, okay, that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. I mean, we didn't get to see too much of Castellanos. Again, he came in the summer. We didn't get to see too much from him. I think, like you said, I think he definitely needs a little bit more development. Do I necessarily think that, based on what we saw, that he's our starting right wing or right midfielder, however you want to look at it? Not necessarily. I think we see more from some other players, but I think I'm more disturbed by the options that were not exercised, and that's what we're gonna get into. So let me read off the list here. The club has declined the 2019 contract options for Eloy Amagat. We got our wish.
Yes,
we got our wish. It's beautiful. Kwame Awuah. I'm not that upset. Maxime Chanot. That one hurts.
This one stings.
Tommy McNamara hurts the most.
See, as much as I love Tommy,
from an emotional standpoint.
Yes, you're right. Emotionally,
from an emotional standpoint, it is the most painful one for me.
I also think the club missed a huge window to get something when they realized with Patrick that Tommy wasn't getting the minutes. I think they missed a huge opportunity to trade him, despite all of our, our not wishing for that, to bring back a couple of pieces that the team could have used over the last season and a half. So now you lose him for nothing. And again, even if you try to trade him now, he didn't give you a season he didn't give you a body of work this year to showcase. So it's sad times. I think Maxime Chanot is probably the biggest one. And I think it comes down to the fact that Ibiaga had a really good season. He played fairly well alongside Callens, and he doesn't make anywhere near as much money as Maxime does. Maxime also had a piss-poor attitude for a majority of the season when he wasn't starting. Just really not happy. And that's fine. I understand it. You want to be a starter, but I don't think you can let it get to you in the ways that he was letting it get to him. I could be wrong, but for me, anytime I saw him when he wasn't starting, didn't want to have a conversation, didn't want to be bothered, just wanted to leave the stadium, and that's fine. But other times when towards the end of the year when he got his job back, he was much more pleasant to deal with. So I'm going to go on a limb and say that's my hot take there. I think his attitude didn't help him. Again, these are not permanent things. The club could be negotiating, and obviously you're probably not going to decline options on players who aren't getting paid a whole hell of a lot. You're probably going to decline them on the larger side and try to rework their deals to make them a little more cap and team friendly. So players like Rodney Wallace and Maxime Chanot could actually come back. We don't know. I personally would love Maxime Chanot to come back. I think he's a great defender. I think he's a great leader. I think he's possible captain material for next season.
He wore the armband.
Yeah. We had to get into that discussion too before we leave today because that's a good one.
Let me get a couple comments in here, dude, because we're not going to really necessarily leave the Chanot conversation for a couple minutes. David is saying that Chanot had to have been a financial decision, which is kind of alluding to what you were just talking about. Again, that makes a lot of sense. That to me makes a lot of sense. Christian Smith says, "Amma got the hell out of here."
That was quick.
Yeah.
It was like a vacation for him.
Christian says, Ibiaga is still going to be a backup. I have a feeling that they'll go with Huntonji or someone else to replace Maxime. That remains to be seen. Again, they could be, buying him down. Let's see what, I mean, Just because the options have not been exercised or declined does not mean that these players are necessarily gone because
Well,
they are talking about speaking with players about the 2019 season. But again, as it stands right now, these players are bye bye. The Chanot thing, dude. I'm telling you, I feel like he made Collins better when they played together. I feel like they were a solid back line, and when you have a year that, in my opinion, defense is not the problem. The first 3 years we were talking about our defense sucks, our defense sucks, our defense sucks. Well, this is the one year that I felt that, maybe with the exception of the last couple of months, defense really hasn't been the problem. Offense has been the problem.
The defense really wasn't the problem towards the end of the season either. We just couldn't put goals in the net.
Right. So, and when you look at Chanot being a pivotal part of that, to see him get declined is absolutely incredible. It's unbelievable. Jonathan on Facebook says, Chanot can definitely be a leader after Villa departs. I agree. We talked about this, dude. Like, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, he has that passion, that grit, that end-to-end mentality, that go all out 90 minutes. Very seldom subbed off when he was playing. He's a very, very, very good center back.
Very consistent performances, dude. Couple of mistakes.
I think you have to reward that versus. I mean, listen, if you're asking me between Rodney Wallace and Maxime Chanot, who am I trying to buy down? Not buy down, but try to rework a contract and come back for less money. You better be hand over fist Maxime Chanot all day long, because there's no comparison to what Rodney Wallace brings to the pitch versus what Maxime Chanot does. If this is a situation where Maxime doesn't want to play here anymore, I don't blame him. It's hard to have watch your spot be taken away from you and not given back. And even though you've pretty much been here longer than a lot of these other guys coming in here, maybe you don't like Dome's style and you want to get out of here. I understand that too. But if this is an NYCFC, looking at just a way to kind of, cut some cash, put them, fat in the pockets a little bit, this one's a tough one, because there are a couple of intangibles here with this player that you can't necessarily buy in most players. Some players just develop them over time. Some players are born with it. Some guys have it for certain teams. This guy really has those intangibles that you can see on the field. He just brings it 110% all the time, with the exception of that Red Bull game.
Sure.
Which pretty much could have caused all this.
Maybe it's just sad. It's sad to see a player like that's done so many positive things get let go. Moving on, dude. No more Magna moments.
No more Magna
moments. This hits me right here. Right here, this one hits me because when they announced David Villa's departure yesterday, and Tommy McNamara was the last remaining 2015 roster player, and then today to find out that his option was declined, that really hit me. That I was like, no. And I just got my Tommy McNamara jersey. It's unbelievable. And look, for me, I understand as far as contributions this season go, very minuscule. Let's call a spade here. I'm not saying this was our star player by any stretch of the imagination, but I love Tommy. We love Tommy as the Dudes in Blue. We always loved Tommy. We just wish he had a role in whatever plan NYCFC was heading toward, and it just doesn't seem like it's that way. I am gonna miss him dearly. What's gonna be sad for me is every time the game is on, well, really two things. Really, anytime the game is on TV, dude, my son, who's 2.5 now, always likes to see David Villa and Uncle Tommy, and both of those guys are gone. He's always referred to Tommy as Uncle Tommy. I have Tommy McNamara on camera saying hi to my son as Uncle Tommy. It's so sad, but it is what it is.
It's a league where you can't afford to have favorites.
No, and that's what my
have,
wife said. That's what Kara said. She was like, I can't follow players. I'm like, not in this league, you can't.
No, you can't. You can't. There's far too much turnover. Just you can't. If you fall in love with one, you end up following them wherever they go, and it's a lot of work because they go all over the place. It really doesn't pay to have favorites. It doesn't pay to get someone's name on the back of their jersey. Get your own name. Don't give a crap what anybody says. It's fun as hell. I'll get something creative. Yeah, it's been a rough 2 days.
Yeah, the last one of the declines that we need to talk about is Rodney Wallace gone, at least for now.
Please,
at least for now.
Do us all a favor. Lose the directions to the freaking training facility.
Listen, I read somewhere that they were possibly in talks with him of getting him a new contract, which I think would be an absolute mistake. If you are not keeping Tommy McNamara, Rodney Wallace better be on the first train out.
Yeah, him and Amagai should be hand in hand like Thelma and Louise.
Oh man, 100%. It just, please no more. There was there cannot be any. There was no production whatsoever. No production. No. Absolutely nothing. So it's time to go. It's time to go. The other thing that we need to kind of hit on real quick, dude, is the fact that Yangel Herrera and Saad Abdul Salam's contract are done at the end of December, but they have made offers to them. So, what's that?
Both of them?
The club has according to NYCFC, the club has extended a bona fide offer to Abdul Salam, which allows the club to retain his right of first refusal. So just to Salam, I misspoke. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The big question mark is going to be Yangel. The big Yangel question mark.
Yeah. So there was rumors that Glenn Crooks put out there that from South America, there's rumors that NYCFC could be using a DP slot on Yangel Herrera. If this happens, I'm out. I'm not with this team anymore because if that happens, this team is being run by a bunch of degenerates. That this is nothing but a money grab for Man City to grab a few extra dollars for whatever God knows what reason. I could not fathom paying Yangel as a DP unless you're removing Jesus Medina from his DP slot and getting a big name. There is no way this club can move forward and to be successful without bringing in a star player whom everyone knows that can get fans back in the stands. Because this team in this city playing this way with relatively unknown players is the recipe for disaster. It will be horrendous. You have no stadium in sight. You have no plans to build a stadium right now. Otherwise, we would have seen something at this point. You're bleeding fans like crazy. Your best player just left. Your other two DPs really didn't work out 100%, but they kept booties in the stands. This is going to be a huge offseason, and it could either be a huge upswing for us or the complete downfall of this team moving forward because it's not middle of the road thing. You can't start a season and you can't have a no-name guys. You have to have electric players. You have to have some sort of a name to grab away from all the other sports that are happening in the city. It's not like other towns and cities where you can, get away with it. You have to have production. You have to have wins, and you've got to have star power in the city. And I just don't know where you're going to find it. So I'm hoping for an off season that's going to have a big splash that we're all going to be like, wow, I didn't realize this player was available. But if Yangel Herrera and Jesus Medina are both TPs on this team, I'm done. I won't even root for another MLS team. I'll just leave. I just can't fathom. I cannot fathom giving Yangel Herrera such an inconsistent player a DP slot. Like, not worth it.
Dude, everybody raves about him.
Alex Ring would be more worth a DP slot.
Dude, it's funny you're saying that because David on Facebook just said that. I would rather give Ring a DP spot. He at least deserves it.
Maxime should know I would take a DP spot over Yangel Herrera.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
He's a nice player. He's a nice, good, young player. But the DP slot in this league needs to be reserved.
Coveted. It's coveted.
Yeah, you can't just give it to anybody. It's got to be special. And I'm sorry, but Yangel is just not there yet.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And I think most people agree as well. John Levin on Facebook says Yangel was on a plane to England according to his Instagram account today. So we shall see.
Stay over there.
Yeah, you can hang out over there. Dude, let's move on to the biggest pressing matter here. It's time to talk about David Villa. I don't know about you, dude, but it was tough for me to watch that video that the team released. This one, Tommy Mack hurt. This one, this is bad. This is bad. This is.
I think I ugly cried the ugliest of ugly cries yesterday at one point. It's just people will never understand. Non-sports fans will never understand. It's like I'm getting married and I feel like a girlfriend just left me.
I know.
That's what it feels like. And people don't realize that you build, whether you meet these players or not, you kind of build a bond with them and they create memories for you. And it's an interesting situation, and I'm sad to see him go, but I want to hear the whole story. I want to know what happened. I want to know, did he come back and say he wants to play? Does he want more money? Can he get more money in Japan? Does the team not want him? Do they want to do something different with him as far as position-wise? That I would like to know. Because
unless we wind up hearing something from, wherever he ends up,
we'll never know.
There is no way in hell City Football Group is letting any of that information out.
No. They don't want to be painted as the bad guys who made David Villa leave.
Yeah, it's just
it's
not going to happen.
It's crazy. I wanted to go back. One of the comments he made, he said his mind and his body needed another challenge. Maybe he misspoke, but you needed a lesser of a challenge. Is that what he meant to say? Because, I'll be honest with you, it's not like you came here and conquered. Yeah, you played extremely well. And don't get me wrong, you might be the number one DP signing of all time, as far as most of us are concerned. And many people would argue for that. But you didn't win a championship. You didn't win a supporter shield. So, I mean, you tested the waters here, and were they too rough? Or do you miss playing with Iniesta and Torres?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think
if you want to be a world traveler and this is the way you can do it, I don't have a problem with that. I'll be honest with you. But if the league is too rough for you, that to me is a little bit of a cop out.
Yeah, I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, but just to say your mind and body are ready for a different challenge. What's more challenging?
Dude, I think it's PR, dude. That's PR.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's PR, dude. I don't think he wanted to leave. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really don't think he wanted to leave. I think this is where he wanted to finish his career. I really do. I really believe that. And I believe that with all the changes that happened around NYCFC this year, it was just not in the cards for him. They just did not want him. They didn't want an aging DP. They didn't want an aging DP as their sole striker. I don't think this was something that they wanted going into 2019.
And they should have found another way to keep this man on board.
I agree. It is the worst. This is 100%. This beats Patrick leaving. This beats. I mean, this is
Dome coming in.
What's that?
It beats Dome coming in.
That's true. This is literally the worst news that we could have gotten right before Christmas. Merry effing Christmas, guys.
Oh, wait till you see what we got in store for you guys for Christmas.
Oh my God! But it's just
Look,
the man is a legend prior to coming to NYCFC, but for what he was able to do when he came here, the man he surpasses legend status. The man when he came here came here not speaking a lick of English, and he did his final exit interview with NYCFC for the public in English. He addressed the fans in English. This man gave his heart and soul to this dude. So that's why I find it very hard to believe that it was him that really wanted to go and try something else. You know, now what? Now he's got to go at 37 years old, go to a new league, possibly in Japan, possibly China, wherever the hell he might wind up going, and be accustomed to a new league. Do you really think his final season somewhere else that he has no idea about is going to be one of his best? Do you think that's really what David Villa wants to end his career as?
No, I don't think so.
You know, it just does. It just doesn't make sense. Like it's just.
I could see if you don't want him as a DP, I could totally agree with that.
We talked about that, dude. We talked about that.
It's totally fine. If you didn't try in some other capacity to bring him back, and if he declined it, that's on him. I can't blame City for that one. You know, if you're making $5-6 million and all of a sudden you're only making one and change or less than that, you know, yeah, I could see where, thanks, I'm going to go elsewhere. That's fine, but we made you the offer, and this is what we can do. And again, you got salary restrictions to work with. So it's not like you're not trying to slap the guy in the face with a low ball offer. That's literally like all you can offer the man. If City offered him something in the ways of a player's contract to stay, and he declined, it's one thing. But if they just said, listen, we're done with you, and cut ties, I think that is awful. Awful, awful. And I really have to question who's running this team at this point, because it's just, you don't have anyone's best interest in mind. I don't know what the point of the club is if you're not trying to win, or if you're trying to build a fan base. It's just astounding to me how you can run Man City one way and run this organization completely ass backwards from that. I just don't. I don't get it. I know they have the players and the money to do so, but it doesn't mean your attitude needs to change from team to team. If you keep the same attitude with the players you have, and you're trying to build something within the rules, you can still do it, regardless of whether the money is, you know, $6 million or $60 million, or $600 million for that matter. So I just really have serious questions right now as to what this team is doing. And
if you didn't before, you sure as hell should have questions now.
And if these questions are not answered by, I would say, April or May of next year, where we're seeing who they bring in and whatnot, there's going to be a really, really long-winded question, and we're not going to have the answers to it for a long time. So be prepared, because I don't think this team is going to show any sign of anything in the beginning of the season. I just don't know how, with everything that's gone on.
Yeah, it's terrible. Dude, let's try to end this on a positive note, okay? Let's try to end this on a positive note, and let's maybe talk about, do you have any favorite David Villa moments? And if you can narrow it down to one or two, I've got two of them in my mind, and you guys can put them in the comments.
Okay, yeah.
Let us know if you've got any favorite David Villa moments. I'll give you one of mine.
Yeah, and okay, we'll trade off. That's
to kind of give you some time to think about this, because I'm just springing this on. It's not something that we necessarily planned, but I think it's befitting of a man like David Villa for us to be able to talk about some things that we absolutely love. The first one I'll tell you, dude, is the win over the Chicago Fire last season at home, where NYCFC went down to 10 men in the 7th or 8th minute when Yangel Herrera, oddly enough, picked up a red card, and David Villa played the game of his life that game. And one of my favorite moments, he was subbed off, I think in like the 85th minute or something like that, and he was, when the final whistle blew, the shot of him literally with his head in his hands looked like he was in tears, and because that you felt like he left it all out there. He went and literally hugged some fans that were sitting in the pitch side seats, and it was just, dude, it was one of the most emotional ends to a game that I've ever seen, and it was all David Villa. So for me, that was one of the moments where, you know, that here's a man that took the team on his back and literally carried them to a win despite the odds being against them for 85 plus minutes. That's a David Villa moment for me.
That night, I swear everybody would have told you that after that game, there is no way that this team is not making it to the final. The way they played that game was absolutely insane, and he was just an animal. Um, so much fun. So that was such a fun game to be at, such a fun game to watch. And you're right, it was super emotional for a middle of the season game. Just to see everything that goes on when you're there is just it's unreal, and it was amazing. My first one has to be the midfield chip in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Lucky enough to be sitting right there when it happened. Um, just is to be able to make something out of nothing, which he seemed to be able to do on a frequent basis, whether it be dribbling by three people or making a run from the midfield line all the way to get into the box and put a shot on goal, to the back heel passes. He just always managed to figure out how to make something out of nothing. But that for me, that was definitely one of the two.
Yeah, no, I that dude, that one will go down in MLS history. That one will go down in the books as one of the best goals scored in MLS history. Even though it didn't win goal of the week that week, which was absolute bull.
Yeah.
There is few players in the world that can pull off a feat like that, and David Villa is certainly one of them. Dude, my other one, it's gonna be a little unorthodox, I think, from this kind of conversation. But last season at Yankee Stadium, the second leg of the conference semifinals against Columbus, where they won 2-0 and they needed to win 3-0. At the end of that game, I don't know if you remember, but there were several NYCFC players on the floor
He picked them all.
defeated.
Yep.
David Villa walked around and he picked everybody up and said, "Get up, get up, get up." Dude, you want to talk about hitting you in the feels?
Oh yeah.
That was
Right in here.
yeah, that was amazing. Like, that to me, that's a captain. You know, I don't know of anybody else on our roster then or now that would be able to take that kind of stance and literally pick your players up off the ground after a crushing season-ending season-ending win, I should say,
Yeah.
like David Villa did. It's just it's pure class, man. It's pure class. I get verklempt just thinking about that one. That one gets me more like emotional than anything else, because here it is, the season's over, everybody's defeated around you, and he literally walked around and just picked everybody up. I remember he picked up Alex Ring, and Alex Ring's a tough guy, dude. Alex Ring's a tough guy. You very rarely see that man look as if he's been beaten down, and he was defeated at that moment, and Villa went up to him and just literally just picked him up off the ground. Dude, pure class. It's pure class.
It's crazy because you saw him mature as a captain, as a leader, very much so over his tenure here. He started off with constantly wanting the ball at his feet, and if your pass wasn't there, it was always the arms are up in the air and the you should be here, you should be there. And it kind of transitioned over a time where he became a real true leader where, the burden was on everybody if they lost. The fingers weren't pointed at anybody. If anybody made a pass and it just missed, he gives them the clap, the thumbs up. It was a good idea. Much more mature David Villa, in my opinion, from year 1 to year 4. That being said, my last one is it's kind of a cop out, but the hat trick against Red Bull.
That came up in the comments a couple times.
Yeah, that one's fantastic, just for so many different reasons, because it was a rivalry game and his first hat trick, and it was a game winner. It was great. But it just that game and the Chicago game kind of embodied who he is as a player. Just nonstop, from whistle to whistle, in between the lines, always hustling, always trying to get things done. And again, making something out of nothing. That one run where he had the goal from the right side against Robles in the second half, just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Take on that many defenders and to be able to switch feet and crisscross guys and get guys mixed up. Just showcased one of his many talents. An honorable mention for me, one of my favorite goals from him that wasn't really anything crazy. the scissor kick from Pirlo's corner. That was one of the greatest goals I've ever seen scored live. Just takes so much skill to do things like that. Um, Maybe not as much as the midfield chip, but that for me was always one of the great pictures that I see in my head when I think of David Villa. I think of him being completely horizontal, midair, striking a ball perfectly with Pirlo in the corner and us standing there, and we're like this big where you can see us. Um, just just a great 4 years spent here, and uh, it's sad because I think it's more unknown if we're going to get 4 more years like that with someone else. Are there going to be good years? Are there going to be better years? I think if you had a plan in place where you kind of knew what was going to happen next season and you felt comfortable with the guys that you're going with, it would be okay. But I think there are so many question marks right now that it makes this hurt that much more.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say that if we knew what was coming, that it would make the blow a little less, a little less painful. But still, the fact that we're losing him is definitely going to be.
I was sad that he's playing. I would much rather him just retire.
I know. That's the thing.
Like it makes me feel sad that you like if he declined for whatever reason that this wasn't it for you. Like you didn't. Right. These 4 years didn't do it for you, did it? Like you just want to leave. You just want to go and chase, some Asian club. You want to go play over there. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know if he wants to. That's the thing. We don't know.
He fell in love with Chinese food or sushi in the city. That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But he will, nevertheless, he will 100% be missed by us, by NYCFC as a whole. That's why I'm wearing the black kit today, dude. This is, trying to pay homage here. This is gonna be tough. It's tough for me. I've got my framed David Villa signed kit in the other room there, and that will come off the wall when we move. That's and then it'll go right up wherever we wind up next. But
okay, they will stay. That is one of those jerseys that will withstand the test of time. That will stay up there for quite a while. I've got a couple of them, and once they get up here, they are. You can best believe they're not coming down, and no shame in any of them. I mean, it's fantastic. It's been a wonderful ride.
Yeah, 100%. He will 100% be missed at this club by everybody involved. You definitely can't deny that. Well, guys, we appreciate you spending time with us on this Thursday night. This was kind of like an impromptu episode. We kind of talked this morning, and we were like, we should probably get online and talk about this. And we appreciate all the comments and those that joined on the Facebook Live and that you're listening on the podcast as well. We will be back here Monday night, December 3rd at 8 p.m. for the season finale of the Dudes in Blue, the Duty Awards. And we've got some special stuff in store for you on that.
This takes a lot out of that, don't you feel like it takes a lot?
Yeah, dude, it's so.
I feel so aggravated. Why couldn't they do this like the week after? Like
I know.
Now we're going into it with a little bit of like, yeah, all right, you won,
I know,
but still a lot of fun to make.
We still have to do what we do.
Yeah, so the show must go on,
right? The show must absolutely go on. So, nevertheless, we will be here Monday night at 8 p.m. for the duties. You're gonna want to watch the duties. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. It's a very special night for us. We put a lot of work into it. It's fun, and we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dudes in Blue. And if you haven't already, we really appreciate a review on iTunes or Facebook just to let us know your feedback on the show and let us know what you like, what you don't like. We really, really do appreciate it. Guys, thanks so much for spending some time with us. We will be back on Monday nights, but as always, it's actually going to be very easy to stay blue this week because it's been a tough one. Yeah. Guys, don't forget to check out the shop. There's some David Villa stuff in there. I think everything is on sale right now for some reason. I don't know. But I do know that there is free shipping. They're probably doing something like that. Yep. Yeah, so go check it out. Grab some stuff you like. Grab it for Christmas. It's good for stocking stuffers. You could give them as wonderful gifts to everyone, even though they might not know who we are.
doesn't really matter. But yeah, check it out. Some David Villa stuff over there. That's definitely a majority of it will be taken down at some point in the near future. I just don't want to clog up the page with stuff that's not really relevant. So I tend to move things around as necessary. So the David Villa stuff will be going away and not be coming back.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but again, there's some cool Forever 7 line stuff. I just made it. Very simple, but definitely you'll be able to carry David with you wherever you go, and all these different designs and whatnot. And the other David Villa designs from during the year are also in the same collection. So go check it out. Grab yourself something cool and save it for the memories. And next year it'll be a different shirt for someone else. So
there you go. Yeah, just head over to dudesandblue.com and hit shop and enjoy. Guys, listen, have a great rest of the week and the weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday night. As always, stay blue.